Hey, comic book fans! Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Geezers. I am Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic, your host and the founding father of the show, sitting right here.
I am P. Pardo. How's everybody doing? We've got kind of a cool little 2-in-1 episode here for you today. It's going to be a inside the cover as well as a overall look at a very short run of but fairly notable little title that came out in the mid-'70s. We're talking about Black Goliath. So we're going to go inside the cover to issue number 1. And then I'm going to quickly show you the other issues in the series, because it only ran 5 issues.
Back cover.
And, I've got to show Evel Knievel, right? Come on. I mean, Evel Knievel all over the place.
I don't have any comics of this guy.
None at all? Do you have any? Because he appeared in
the Avengers.
Power Man. Well, yeah, he was in. That's where he originated from, but not as Black Goliath. But he showed up in 2 issues of Luke Cage Power Man. I think issue number 24 and 25.
Okay.
With the Circus of Crime, they fight in that one. He also was briefly in the Defenders, and he showed up a couple other places.
I don't remember him ever going up against the Hulk.
No. But he was like the colleague and assistant of Hank Pym,
okay,
who, of course, is, Ant-Man, Giant Man, Yellow Jacket, Goliath. And he wound up kind of tinkering with all of the, the science that goes behind giving him his powers.
Okay.
And he tapped into the power of, gigantism, just like, when he became Goliath and Giant Man. So then all of a sudden Bill Foster, who is this guy, he's a scientist, he now has the ability to become the superhero known as Black Goliath.
And he can change at will?
He can change at will. Yeah, okay. He can change at will, and he can grow up to, I think, 25 feet tall or something.
Okay.
10 or 25, something like that. I don't know. So he made these other appearances, and then, there was enough interest in the character that they decided to give him his own book, and that's what this one is right here. So basically, you've got, who do we got? Conceived and written by Tony Isabella. Featuring the action artistry of George Tuska, who also worked on Luke Cage and, of course, Iron Man for many years. We've talked about how much we love his art on Iron Man. Vince Colletta was the inker, lettered by Irv Watanabe, colored by Michelle Wolfman, and edited by Marv Wolfman. So there he is right there. And basically, this issue it's not really an origin story, because the character of Bill Foster had been around for a number of years. But this kind of talks about him on his own now. He's not really working so closely with Hank Pym anymore. So here he is. I believe this takes place in L.A.
So not to cut you off, but in the Avengers, where did he first appear in the Avengers? Like in the 30s, 40s?
Yeah, 50s? The 30s, yeah.
Okay.
Really early on. They mention it here, and I'll get to it, I think, because there are a couple of...
because they always do flashbacks, right?
Yeah. Avengers number 32, you remember we talked about on an Inside the Cover episode a couple weeks ago where Giant Man, or Goliath, got stuck at 10 feet and he couldn't go back down,
yes.
Remember?
Yeah.
Right? So Bill Foster...
And he was Giant Man.
He helped him to come up with a solution to get back down.
Now, what made him want to change his name?
Who? Hank Pym or
Black Goliath?
Oh, changes to
Wasn't
Black Goliath?
Wasn't he Giant Man originally?
No, he was just always Black Goliath.
Really?
Giant Man was Hank Pym. Because he had 2 different names. He called himself Giant Man, then he changed it to Goliath.
I thought this guy changed his name too.
No, he was always Black Goliath. I think he basically took the Goliath name, which was retired after a while, because also Hawkeye was Goliath for a little bit too.
Really?
It's very confusing. Yeah, for a brief period of time,
that makes no sense at all.
I know it makes no sense. It gets so complicated, right?
An archer named Goliath.
Yeah, there was a brief little time in the Avengers. I think it was in the 40s or something like that. Or I forget the actual issue numbers, but he also got the power of being able to turn into a giant. So he kind of retired Hawkeye for a little bit, and he became Goliath. I think it was when they fought the Defenders, if I'm not mistaken. It was that time period. Yeah, so it's probably a little bit later than what I'm saying. But then that stopped, and then of course Hank Pym no longer was doing Giant Man or Goliath. He was Yellow Jacket for ages. So basically, Bill Foster then, who also had the power to become big and strong like that, decided to take the Goliath name and add the black because he is black, right?
Yes,
so
makes sense.
So here, but this is again this series is meant to be another, because the Luke Cage comic was very popular, and at the time, this is 1975. It was Power Man at that point in time. Went from Luke Cage Hero to Hot for Hire to Power Man, and they wanted to introduce more black characters because in the 70s you had Luke Cage, you had Black Panther, you had the Falcon, and then Black Goliath was meant to be the next big one. Unfortunately, it didn't really turn out like like that because I think, quite frankly, I've had these for years. I bought these off the stands. It just basically was a rehash of the Luke Cage series. Basically you had.
Was that his only power? Just getting big? He had super strength.
He had super strength. Yeah, but the way that the whole
he couldn't fly. Right?
Couldn't fly. No, couldn't fly. Again, it had a very urban type of feel to it, but again, instead of New York, they did this one in Los Angeles.
The West Coast, okay.
Yeah. But, the costume was okay, I guess. He was actually a pretty cool character, as it was, because he was a very intelligent guy. He was a scientist, but they put him in, this real, kind of urban setting, right? And so here he is going to battle with a bunch of thugs.
Did he have a number one foe?
I'm going to get to that. Yeah, because not really. They didn't stick around long enough.
Remember, not really, but you're going to get to it.
I'm going to get to it. Okay. Big Jim's pack, right? I had 3 of these guys. Did you have these?
I had none of those.
Yeah,
no.
I had
G.I. Joes.
I had Warpath, Dr. Steel, and Big Jim.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love those.
Big Jim with Kung Fu Grip? Remember that? Was that the same guy?
No, this guy had the Kung Fu Grip. The Dr. Steel dude. Anyway, we digress.
Yes, we do.
So here we kind of go through, and it's just trying to set up all the main characters and people who are in his life. He also was an employee of Tony Stark, so he actually was manning up Tony Stark's West Coast operation in Los Angeles. So Tony had a laboratory out in Los Angeles, and Bill Foster was the head of that laboratory, assigned by Tony Stark, who was right there. He also Claire Temple. He also had a little thing with Claire Temple, who of course wound up being the girlfriend of Luke Cage. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why they fought in the Power Man issue, because those 2 issues, because they both had their sights set on a love triangle.
Yes.
Hello.
Fighting over a woman.
That's right. Fighting over a woman. So here, again, a lot of this issue is a lot of backstory here. So, of course, he places a phone call into Hank Pym. Him and Janet the Wasp are in the hospital because of something that happened in Avengers number 137 to 141. And then they recap
That's when the other guy, Yellow Jacket,
was that the
when he was getting bigger, uncontrollably?
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense, right? So he's talking to him because he had some questions about people trying to steal some radium from the laboratory. And then they go into the history. So here in this panel, you got the history of how he helped Hank Pym reduce back to his normal height in that early issue of the Avengers number 32. And then how he took the serum and now he has the power. And then they show him fighting Luke Cage below. They talk about the Circus of Crime because apparently he had no money at the time. And he went and joined the Circus of Crime thinking he can make some money. And then the Claire Temple thing. Then he gets into the thing with Power Man. Oh my God. So it's like this whole convoluted story. And then they introduce all of his assistants at the laboratory, and you got some kind of kooky characters here, which I think they really wanted to make a big part of this series. But because it didn't last long, they never really got to develop any of them, and they're all kind of goofy. So, he goes out, and he wants to bust these guys who keep trying to break into the warehouse to steal the radium, and then they introduce this new villain called Atom Smasher, who's actually kind of cool. He looks kind of interesting. He's got some cool powers, just so you can see what he looks like. He's got these weird things floating around his head, whatever. He's got
electrons.
He's got his henchmen. That's a great display. I mean, George Tuska's such a good artist. So there, Black Goliath is waiting for them, so he gets into a big fight with them. He's 10 feet tall, and in the end, he basically beats the crap out of all the henchmen, but then the Atom Smasher turns his body into this pure energy, which kind of like freaking Electro, right? I mean, I think this character is kind of like a...
if he's the Atom Smasher, I think he's like doing like nuclear fission or fusion.
Yeah. What was that name?
He looks like he's atomic power right there.
He does.
Atomic energy.
Yeah, he does. And what's that Hulk foe from the maybe the 140s? That's like he's like a big ball of electric. I think there was a 2-issue battle.
Was that Zach?
Zapped, yeah.
Zach, I think, with a Z.
Something like that.
Z, like 3 or 4 Z's and AK.
Yeah, that's the guy. So, this character here, Atom Smasher, is kind of like a rehash of Electro and that character right there. But he looks kind of cool, and he proves to be basically the villain on these first 2 issues of Black Goliath. So here, at the end, we got a little cliffhanger there. He basically gets the best of Black Goliath there, and then he turns into this thing of pure energy, and then you go on to issue number 2. So that's
your inside.
That's your inside the cover for number 1. So and
Hope
then
you liked it.
Yeah, and I'll show you the other covers so we can just give you an idea what this.
Question: speaking of ideas, how big? What's it like the maximum height this guy can get? How big?
I don't know. I mean, you asked before. I don't know.
Is he like Stilt Man? Can he go as big?
Funny you should ask that.
Is it really?
Hang tight for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yes. So here's issue number 2. So again,
that's a nice cover. I like
it. It is a good. The artwork. I tell you what, the first 3 issues, the artwork is spectacular because it's George Tuska doing the all the artwork and on the covers as well. So it's top notch.
So he's inside and out.
Yeah, so top notch. And so we got this Atom Smasher in the first 2 issues. Then he kind of also appears a little bit in issue number 3, but then they bring in this other guy named Vulcan.
He kind of looks like a hunchback.
He sucks. Again, cool cover. But the villain's just terrible, and there's like no.
And what's his name?
There's no resolution. Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Yeah, he looks like a hunchback dude. He's got this really tiny little head. He's just terrible, absolutely terrible. This issue is just.
And when you say Vulcan, everyone thinks of Spock right off the bat.
Correct.
Right.
It's just terrible name. And
Look.
It's not even really a good fight, and then there's like no resolution at the end, and that's the last issue with George Tuska, and then they bring in Stilt Man, which great Kirby cover, right? Fantastic Kirby cover.
Wow.
But then on the inside,
Stilt Man gets around.
And and it's funny because you would think that Black Goliath, he's big, he's really strong. Could kill Stiltman, because how many times has Daredevil totally annihilated Stiltman? And yet it's a back and forth, really close battle, right? So here we've got Rich Buckler and Don Heck doing the artwork in here, and and Don Heck I think is doing the inks. I don't know. I like both of those guys. I think Don Heck is really good. Rich Buckler is great. Yeah. And other than this kind of really cool splash page,
that's centerfold.
The rest of the artwork is really lackluster. I mean, look at this.
Show them that one.
Yeah, of course, your favorite guy, the Stilt Man, bursting up through the top of the building, and it's just it's a pretty good. I will say it's a pretty good battle. This is not a bad issue. I'm not nuts about the artwork because I just think it looks a little sloppy. But the weird thing is that Stilt Man has this ray gun, and he winds up blasting Black Goliath and his girlfriend and some little kid. I forget who the kid
he shoots kids. This is getting better.
And he blasts them into another dimension.
Ooh. The gun gun is like Rom's gun?
Since when did Stiltman ever have that kind of power?
I didn't know he could send people to another dimension.
Right.
Because when Rom zaps the Diorith, he sends them to limbo.
Yeah, no, they go to another dimension of the planet.
So he's not killing them; he's sending them someplace else.
Send them somewhere else. So that battle is over,
wow.
And then they go.
That's weird, man.
Issue 5.
I thought his gun was just bullets.
That's what it always was, right? And then so now here you have the 3 of them. So Black Goliath, I forget the girl's name.
Who's
the woman's
Kirby?
name.
Is that Kirby again? No. Who is that?
No, I think this is a.
Is that Buckler?
No, this looks like a. Come on, the guy who's done everything. I'm drawing up.
Gil Kane.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's a Gil Kane cover. I'm pretty sure. It's either Gil Kane or Klaus Janson. I'm not really sure. But
I like that.
It's a good
guy's hand.
Yeah, it's a good action cover. So basically now Black Goliath and his new girlfriend and I guess her son or nephew are in this other dimension, this other planet, battling all these crazy creatures from another planet. And it's just when did this become a science fiction magazine?
And now he's going to their dimension that helps them? It looks like he's in their realm.
He befriends this one creature guy, and then they fight these other ones, and then the one creature guy who he befriends, he winds up dying. And then the end of the book, they're like, all right, I guess now we'll go back home. They don't show how they get back home or explain how they're going to get back home. And then you read the letters page and we're sorry, this is the last issue of Black Goliath because nobody bought it and we're going to end it right there. And we're like, what? You got to leave it like that?
Feel cheated.
Totally feel cheated. But the moral of the story is this...
It's worth $1 million now, this set. No.
Yeah, it's worth nothing. It's okay, but the writing was all over the place. I'm going to bring up what you brought up earlier. There was really no definitive arch enemy, right? Other than maybe the Atom Smasher in the beginning. But with 5 issues, you got no time to build anything up. Yeah. And quite frankly, to me,
was that bi-monthly? It was, wasn't
April.
it?
Yeah, bi-monthly. And they just, that's
what they do with books that aren't popular, right? They'll start off with a bi-monthly.
To see if it gains traction, right? And we've talked about this a lot here on the channel. This time period, the mid-'70s in Marvel, they were trying all sorts of new stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of them didn't make it. A lot of them didn't make it.
That might have, if they, like you said, if they had a little bit more of plot, and maybe if they'd pushed it monthly. Like when they did Nova, Nova was monthly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But not enough character development there, huh?
No, not enough character development. You bring up Nova, which is a good thing to bring up. You know, in Nova, they would bring in they brought in Thor and Spider-Man in hopes to try and pull people in.
Yep.
They didn't really do that here.
I mean, he had a nemesis right off the bat. He had Diamond Head and the Sphinx.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And Power.
Here, not so much. I mean, yeah, they brought in Stiltman in issue number 4, but I think by the time they brought Stiltman in here, it was already doomed, right? Because nobody bought the first 3. And honestly, the first 2 are the best issues in the whole series. It got great artwork, at least interesting stories, a kind of cool villain in Atom Smasher. But like this issue is a freaking mess. This is a mess.
Did Atom Smasher ever appear anywhere else? Because I've never heard of him.
I don't know. That'd be worth checking out. Good villain, I thought. Yeah, that'd be worth checking out. I don't know. We're gonna have to do that.
I wonder if he died with this series.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? We'll have to look it up. But you know, it's very.
The viewers will tell us. The comic book viewer know-it-alls will tell us.
Yes, you guys are very intelligent, right? So
I don't know nothing.
Yeah, but the character, like I said, he would show up in other places. He would show up in the Defenders, and I as far as the 80s and 90s, I don't know because I stopped reading after that. But he basically is just a retread of Giant Man, and the series itself was very, very redundant of the Luke Cage Hero for Hire Power Man series. And I'm all for because I like the character, just didn't quite catch on.
So. And he already existed in the Avengers, so I guess they thought he might do well on his own.
Yeah.
It was worth a shot.
Worth a shot. Didn't work, unfortunately. But
thanks for being on our show.
That's right.
Black Goliath.
Bill Foster, Black Goliath. There you have it, guys. A look into the cover of inside the cover of number 1, and a look at the whole rest of the series as well. So, thanks for watching this episode on Black Goliath. I'll turn it over to him. Tell you what to do next.
Guys, as always, thank you for your support and your comments. Thanks for being here and watching Comic Book Geezers. We appreciate it so much. Please click the like button and tell your friends if they don't know about us, and you can share this video. And as always, click the notification bell so you can be kept in the loop every time we do a video. Thanks for being here. I'm Wild Bill, and we'll see you next time on Comic Book Geezers.
That's right. We got more stuff planned, so don't touch that dial, and we'll see you every Wednesday and Friday. And I am Pete for Wild Bill. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.